meeting, special meeting of the, I'm sorry, the May 18th special meeting of the Potomac Yard Homeowners Association to order, Board of Directors to order. Well, I'm gonna call the roll. Maria.
Here.
Asha. I think you're muted, Asha.
Here.
Great. Frank.
Here.
Lou.
Here.
Okay, so we have some waivers, a waiver to consider, and some legal updates. So does somebody want to make a motion to go into executive session for that purpose?
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
Great, thank you. Maria, can you move us all into the executive session?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not, I don't know. I actually.
Okay, no problem.
It was executive session,
I see
so
Lou's.
it was executive session, so you.
Oh, Lou, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, am I on mute?
Oh, no, I think Lou is on mute.
Oh,
Okay,
Lou.
I'm sorry. I think Maria made the motion and I seconded it.
Oh, great.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, thank you, everybody who is attending, who has waited for the Potomac Yard Homeowners Association public section of the meeting. So we addressed a bunch of things in our executive session. And the first thing that we addressed was a waiver of late fees. And I think we decided that we are going to table that particular waiver until we have a clearer policy on when those fees will be waived. So does somebody want to give me a motion to table the waiver?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Frank?
Aye.
Okay, so the motion passes 5-0. The second thing on our agenda is to approve the legal invoice for April for Mercer Trigiani in the amount of $10,268.59. Could I get a motion to approve the bill?
Moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Asha?
Aye.
Frank?
No.
Okay, so the motion passes 4-1 with member at large Capone voting no. Third item out of our executive session is that we had a request for books and records of the association. And we determined that the books and records that the requester, Mr. Frank Capone, is not entitled to inspect the documents referenced in the request because the information is privileged. So I would entertain a motion to deny the request.
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
Okay, and the people voting on this will just be the 4 members of the Landscaping Contract Committee. I vote yes. Maria, how do you vote?
Yes.
Asha? Lou?
Yes.
Great.
Committing
the
criminal
motion
activity, Lou. You're committing criminal activity, Lou.
Hey, Frank, you're
You're
speaking
committing
out of
criminal
turn.
activity, Clea. We're
You've
not
had an
responsible for
opportunity
landscaping
to
on
discuss
county
this
property. You're
request in
committing criminal
executive
activity, Clea.
session. You've made your
You're
point.
committing criminal
and-
activity, Clea. Lou's a crook too. We all know that.
Okay,
I mean, this could be called a defamation at this point. He calling people here criminals.
Maria, enjoy your $800 in customized landscaping on your property too.
Frank.
Yeah, that's
you
another
know,
defamation right there. And
You
Interrupt-
stole
no
$800 from the HOA, Maria.
Frank,
You keep
interrupting.
spreading this lie, And you keep spreading this lie that says that condo properties are not part of the HOA.
I
Condo
didn't say that.
properties are
I
part of
didn't
the
say that
HOA.
once. I said the
You
HOA is
keep
not
having an
responsible for
issue.
landscaping on condo property.
I'm not, you know what, Frank? You keep talking over everyone and you don't listen. You don't listen
No,
to
you
anybody
don't read the
here.
declaration.
And
You
back
pay a
check.
lawyer to read the declaration for you and
Folks,
waste our money.
We're very limited on time, and it looks to me like we may have our auditor here. So let's move on and finish. One other item I'm going to add to the agenda here is the board received a request not to perform maintenance, landscaping maintenance on a townhome address in Potomac Yards. In our executive session, we discussed, I would entertain a motion to table this until we have information that we've requested from our attorneys about maintenance responsibilities. So if we get a motion in a second, then we can have a discussion about it. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Does any member of the landscaping contract committee want to discuss before we vote? Okay. Shall I just call the vote then?
There was no discussion that wanted to be held. Just want to make sure. Actually, you're still on mute if you.
I'm sorry, I was taking notes. I'm going back and forth between the screen and my notes.
No problem.
I have no comments.
Okay. All right. Well, let's call the vote then. I vote yes. Maria,
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Lou.
Yes.
Can you
Okay.
clarify what was voted on? I'm sorry.
We're tabling the request to not perform landscaping on the property that was requested to not have landscaping performed on it until we have information from our attorneys about maintenance responsibilities.
That's the provision in the declaration, by the way, and this is what opens up Pandora's box. You're going to find out soon. For an HOA to maintain landscaping on a townhome, fee simple townhome, it's an illegal provision, just so you know. So more's coming on this.
We're definitely paying our attorneys to look into that. So
it's an illegal provision. So they've been doing it wrong
we're
all
going to
along.
move now to old business because we're about 5 minutes behind. So old business, which is I am happy to say a good business. We voted at our last meeting that we would expand the size of the landscaping committee, and we have a great turnout of people who want to be part of the committee. We received 4 applicants, and the 4 4 applicants for 3 slots. The order in which those I would propose that and we can discuss this. I would propose that we just approve the applicants in the order in which they applied, just as a matter of fairness. But does anybody else on the board have a different view?
In a matter of fairness, I'm abstaining because I've requested information, 3-4 sentences from each person, and I didn't get it, so I'm not excluding
did
anybody.
you read
I
the
wouldn't be
packet?
fair.
Frank, it was
It's
in the
in the
board
packet.
packet.
Okay.
It was
Okay,
in
so
the
yeah,
board
I agree with you, Clay. I think that's fair.
I actually I don't know the order in which it was received. Let me see.
Yeah,
See
the
that in the
very
board packet.
last,
There's a date on the email.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the email is actually doesn't reflect the order in which they applied. It was Donna Gupton was the first person to apply,
Mhm.
and then Joseph De Thomas, then Wesley Spaniel, and then Kathleen Potter was the last.
Okay,
So I would-
Kathleen was the last one because it looks like they're both on the same day. That's why I was.
yeah, she was the last one. She already knows too.
Okay. Yeah, because I think it would be helpful to really have, I noticed that Wesley is a former horticulturalist, so I think it would be really beneficial to have him on the committee. I just didn't know which order he came in.
Yeah. So he was third, I think.
Okay, so is it to Donna?
So could
Joseph,
I get a
and Wesley?
motion to approve Donna Gupton, Joseph De Thomas, and Wesley Spaniel as members of the landscaping committee?
So moved.
Sorry.
Okay, so I will count that as a motion and a second. I vote yes. Maria, how do you vote?
Yes.
Asha? Frank?
Abstaining.
And Lou?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion passes with a vote of 4-0, with member at large Capone abstaining. Okay, so now we come to new business. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. We do have two more things. Three more things. Two more things. The landscaper has proposed a treatment plan for removal of pests, for pest management on shrubs throughout the community. Do we want to approve that proposal? Does anyone want to make a motion to approve that proposal?
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor, I will say yes. Maria,
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Frank,
No.
and Lou.
Abstain.
Okay,
And
so
what
the
is, one question here, what does this do for the person who requested to opt out? Will treatment be applied on his or her services, on his or her property? How does that work for the person who?
Well, the question of whether or not that property will be opted out will be resolved once we have legal information about maintenance responsibilities. So, so we can't really make any changes in our plan, in our operations until we are told legally what we are able to do. Okay, so the motion passes for a vote of 3, 1, and Frank, you voted no, right?
Correct.
Okay, so 3-1 to 1, with member Capone opposed and member Silver abstaining. Last thing on the old business agenda is the electronic voting proposal. Association Voting has revised the proposal to include additional units for any Dillon owners. The new proposal is $100 increase over last year and can be locked in for 3 years at a cost of $689 a year. Do we want to go ahead and approve that?
Paying up front the 3 years, or are we just paying every year?
Margot, do you know the answer?
Usually it's an option, it's an option contract. So I'll have them rewrite it to include the 3 years if that's what you would like to do. And then should be able to have the option at the end of the year. That's how I would ask for it, if that's okay with you guys.
This way we don't have to vote on this next year. We don't have to put it in the next year's budget. We pay up front now. We're just done with this for
We're
basically
just
3
paying
years.
1 year at a
Probably
time.
pay
No,
per
we pay
year.
1 year at a time.
1 year at a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So it will be in the budget each year. It just will
Correct.
be already known that it's going to be $689.
Okay. Then
Wait, so Clea, do we need to make a motion for this?
we need to make a motion to approve that contract.
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? I vote yes. Maria, how do you vote?
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Okay,
I'm sorry,
Now
Frank, who
we-
seconded that motion?
it was like
Lou.
simultaneous between Frank and Lou.
Frank. Okay, got it.
Okay, now we come to new business, and we are have the pleasure of having our auditor here with us. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So was there anything that you wanted to start off saying, or should we just go right? Do we have questions for you, or what's the best format for you?
Okay. Yeah, I have a very short presentation I'll give,
Great.
and then I'll take questions after the fact.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I just want to start off saying that the association received an unqualified audit opinion, which is the best audit opinion that the association can get. So that's good. Cash and CDs came out to 95% of total assets, which is good. Net receivables, 4% of total assets, so normal level delinquency after you factor in the allowance for bad debt. Reserves are fully funded by cash, which is good, and they're above the reserve study recommendation for 22, which is also good. Members' equity, 32% of total assessment income, which is high, and that's a good problem to have. Excess of revenue over expenses, $4,992 after audit adjustments, so that's good, especially in light of their very high members' equity of $224K. Federal tax expense came out to $1,890. State tax expense, $402. Main form of taxable income is just interest. And going back to audit findings, there's two main findings, which I'm sure you're already aware of, that I think are worth mentioning. The first one is the concentration of credit risk in the checking account, possibly already resolved, but they had $396,000 in checking at year end. That's above the FDIC limit of $250,000, so that difference is not insured. And so if it's not already been addressed, we would recommend moving it to another bank to make sure that the funds are insured. And you can move it into a money market account or maybe certificates of deposit is normally what associations would do. The other finding, which I'm sure you're aware of this already, is that we found 92 dormant prepaid assessment accounts totaling roughly $34,000. FSR brought to our attention that a lot of these are actually condo association accounts. So I guess the way they did the accounting years ago was different. And what we would recommend for these specifically is to just move those over to the condo association and merge them into the balances they have over there, so that they're not on the association's books anymore. The remaining balances, if you're able to track down the owners listed, they should be refunded to those folks. And the ones you can't track down, if they're over 5 years old, they should be sent to the Virginia Department of Treasury's Division of Unclaimed Property. So at this point, the audit still needs board approval. And once the board approves the audit, they'll need to sign off on the representation letter and get it back to us. And we'll be able to issue a final audit after that's received. For the taxes, the e-file authorization form needs to be signed and returned to us, and we're going to e-file the state return. And the federal return needs to be signed by a board member. And once that's signed, FSR will mail it to the IRS. And so that's all I have for you presentation-wise. And so if you have questions, concerns, anything you want to discuss, we can do that at this time.
And I think probably many of our questions will center on that second thing with the dormant accounts. But
Yeah.
just before we go to questions, I wanted to confirm with Margot. I believe we did move cash out into a money market or a CD, right?
Yeah.
So we are now no longer above the FDIC insurance limit.
Right. And plus, he's also looking at the year end of 2022,
Yeah.
when we're well into 2023. So, yes, we did put in a new request from our last meeting, and I have not seen a confirmation come back on that. So I'll send another email to make sure that they've moved that last request that I was working on with Clea and Asha last week. Right?
Right.
You put in that new request. So I will just have to make sure that one's been taken care of.
Great. Okay, so we're going to go to board member questions now. Maybe I'll call on you guys just so we don't all overtrack each other, but why don't we start with Maria? Did you have some questions?
Sorry, my mute was there. Yeah, so John, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the former auditor does not agree with your opinion regarding the unclaimed balances.
Okay.
They said that they looked at a report and it showed less than $500. So can you explain why there's a difference in opinion?
I'm not sure how closely they examined the prepaid assessments report. That's the report I'm going off of. But if you look at it, they're split out into aging categories, and you got 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. When you see a prepaid balance that's 90, 120 days plus, and there's no activity in it, that's usually a sign that it's a dormant account. And if you see the last date that a payment was made into the account was, years and years ago and nothing current as of 2022, 2023, that's another sign of an account that has no activity in it. And so when I do these audits and I have that prepaid assessments report that I'm trying to tie into the balance sheet, I usually scan it for that type of scenario, accounts that don't look like they've had activity for a long time. And that's how I identify prepaid assessment accounts that are dormant. If I wanted to drill down further, I could actually just go into the specific owner accounts in FSR's Connect system and confirm that there's been no activity. I usually don't go that far because I've discovered this enough times on enough associations to know that if the date of the last payment is over a year ago, or if all of the balance is sitting in 120 days plus on the aging schedule, then I don't need to drill down any further. It's probably an inactive account because I've just done this so many times. And so, if they truly disagree with me and you want to have FSR confirm my findings and drill down into each individual accounts, they can go ahead and do that.
Well, I guess what's confusing is, was there, where are they getting the report to say it's $500 versus 33,000, I think,
$34,000
32,000?
roughly. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
I couldn't answer that question. I would need to go back and look at their work to be able to verify, where that's coming from, and I don't have access to it, so I can't answer for what they looked at in 2021 because I didn't look at 2021 information. Our audit's limited to 2022, and I hate to say it, but I mean if they were there years and years ago, then it likely existed at the time that they did the audit too. And so how carefully each individual auditor looks at that prepaid assessment reports, I mean, they should all be looking at them, but I don't think we all look at them equally.
Okay, but when you're doing an audit, don't you look at the prior year amount as well? Don't you look at the prior year balance?
Yes, we look at the prior year balance, and there's a prepaid assessment report to tie into that, and that's as far as I go. I'm not going to drill down into it. The balance is not misstated, and so that's one reason I wouldn't drill down into it.
So when you looked at the prior year, what was the balance there?
The balance, let's see if I pull that up per the trial balance. I'll actually have the audit right here. So prior year balance. If I go down to the balance sheet, okay, ours is 1 year, so we don't have the prior year presentation. So I got to pull the trial balance. Let's see, $42,000. And it ties into Gold Klein's trial balance, which we do have of $42,000. And so I know they looked at it. If I have the prior year's audit trial balance, I usually won't go and pull up last year's schedule because it's already audited.
Okay, well, I think we
And
need
even
to,
if we disagree over, what's unclaimed property, it doesn't change where it goes on the balance sheet. It's still fair presentation at 42,000. It's just a matter of what you have to do with it. So, for example, I found all of that unclaimed property. It doesn't really change accounts. It's still sitting in prepaid assessments, which is liabilities, and that's where it belongs. But it's a matter of you have to take action on it. And so that's what my finding is that I found all of this unclaimed property and action needs to be taken on it.
yeah, what's
That's kind of it.
concerning, yeah, and John, what's concerning to me is when I first got that list and I saw it, just by glancing at it, I saw immediately that there were current homeowners, original homeowners who were on that list. And so I don't understand how that could even be
Current. Yeah, that's
building up for that long.
Yeah, that's if they're current owner, I mean there was a small number of current owners when FSR got back to me, and so I'm
There
aware
were
of
a lot.
that. That's where it would have been helpful to drill down into the accounts and connect to verify that they are in fact dormant. And so how reliable the dates are and the aging is for the prepaid assessment. I'd question that. And I'd like to know, what caused that difference. But if you drill down into the individual accounts, that's where you'd be able to find activity and know that they are actually current. The vast majority of them, though, are not. The large chunk of that was actually condo assessment.
Yeah, and that's what's concerning me is that do you think it's just a matter of the data being incorrect? And
For
just,
those individual accounts, the report I looked at might not necessarily be correct. But before transferring the monies, FSR would drill down into the individual accounts first.
Yeah, that's what my concern is, that we're
Yeah, they wouldn't just
we
go
might be working
straight
off
to
a
my
bad
report and just
report, and then we're gonna
automatically
take
move it.
action
Yeah.
on that report.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I'd
or I don't
recommend
wanna
drilling
hog
down into
the
each individual account first. So start with what I have in the report, and then just go through the prepaid listing, and then just drill down into each individual account. Make sure that they are in fact dormant, no activity for years, no current activity. And if that's the case, next steps. If it's condo, send it back to condo. If it needs to be refunded to the owner listed, which will be probably a lot of them, attempt to track them down and refund it. For the ones that you can't find, those go to Virginia Unclaimed Property. And so that's how I would approach it: is drill down into each individual one when you're going to start to go through the process of resolving it.
okay.
Yeah, my audit, I mean, I'm pressed for time. And so I found a problem. I've done this enough times to know that you can generally rely on the report. And so I just compile a list and hand it off to management because I know it's not going to change the number.
So what, for us to approve the audit report, or the
Mhm.
draft audit report,
Mhm.
do we need to take action regarding this account before you issue that report?
Oh, no. You can approve the audit as is, as long as you accept the findings and you agree with all the adjustments and you agree with the presentation of it, the opinion, financial statements after adjustments, note disclosures. If you're in agreement with all of that, you can approve the audit prior to taking any action on this. You do have to take action on it, but it doesn't have to be before the audit approval. You can actually approve the audit tonight and take action on this next month. The timing isn't that important, but it would be good to take action on it prior to the next audit. So it's not
Okay,
a
and this is my
burden.
last comment because I don't want to hog it for everyone else, but
Uh,
I'm very concerned that we're going to take action on a report that may be incorrect from FSR. And I just want to make sure that, I know you're saying that we should drill down, but we should take that in consideration if we were going to agree to anything that would imply we're going to take that action.
mhm. Okay. Yeah, I do have the accounts that FSR took exception to. I have an email where they listed that out for me. And so what I could do is I can just follow up on that and request them to send me the ledger for those specific accounts. And then I'll be able to verify that they are in fact current. Um, and so that's what I can do. I can also drill down into all the others just to make sure as well. And I can go back to Margot after that with the results of that, just to
I
give
mean,
extra assurance.
and this is separate from you, but I'm very concerned that we've gone now, I don't know how many, 10 years at
Yeah,
this point.
yeah. Some of those are
Probably
very old.
more than that. And we're now learning about this.
Mm-hmm.
We're now learning about it, and we're identifying homeowners who are on that list who are still original homeowners who have unclaimed refunds and they are unaware of it. So, just separate from that, I'm really concerned that this is now coming to our attention. So,
Mm-hmm.
Clea, I don't want to take up any more time with.
Yeah, well, let's move on to the other board members and then we can circle back and have a quick discussion about if we're going to take any action tonight or need more information before we can proceed. Asha, did you have any questions?
I don't have a specific question, but I have a request from Margot and the accountant. And thank you for attending, by the way. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
If we could verify, go back and verify that the data that you used in order to establish that number is correct before we take action.
They automatically issue that prepaid a report. It's part of your financial package every month. So what he did is use the report for the end of the year in 2022. Correct, John?
Yes, that's what I relied upon. And so I looked at the
Right.
dates and the activity on that report to identify everything. So if there's a disconnect between that and the individual ledgers, that'll have to drill down into. I can do that after the meeting tonight and then get back to Margo with the official results and then hopefully just confirm what FSR already found. And if not, then, I'll ask more questions and we'll resolve it at that point.
Great. Frank, did you have any questions?
Yeah, two questions, John. I appreciate your effort. And just a comment first. I mean, the board chose to use you, so I think they should adhere to what you're saying. But anyway, if a current owner hypothetically is owned $300, say, are we doing anything wrong if we give the owner the option where they don't have to make a payment, say, the next 4 months, or must we mail a check? Is there, latitude there, I guess is what I'm saying, on a current owner if we owe them money?
Okay, yeah. So, if yes, let's say you have a prepaid balance of $300, you can just choose to not pay your assessments until that amortizes, and then
Okay.
when it goes down to zero, you start making your payments again. So that's an option. If it's a person who's still living in the property, that's normally what you would want to do. Just let it amortize. Then when it hits zero, you start to make your assessment of payments again. Another option is to request a refund. And so that's usually how you'd handle it if you were a current owner, is just let it amortize or request a refund.
Excellent. And Clea, this might be more a question for you. I asked last time, I didn't get an answer. Is there a fee to the association if we do issue refund checks versus giving a current owner, if let's say they're owed 5 months refund? Will there be a fee to the association?
I think we discussed this before, didn't we, Margot? I mean, it's like, I think
Yeah, I
anytime
mean,
you
I'm gonna
mail
look-
something,
I'm going to look into ways we can minimize costs by utilizing email. We do have emails for pretty much everyone. So that's going to be my first step. So we won't spend money unless the board is aware of what that cost will be. So I'm still kind of waiting on that. The manager of that department has recently left, so they're kind of in a regrouping mode, if you will. So I sent another request today asking for an update, but I've not received a response yet.
okay. Lou, did you have any additional questions? Lou?
I think we may have lost his audio.
Oh, well, so Lou, we can't hear you if you're there. So it sounds to me like the board is feeling like we might need to have a little bit of additional information before we are prepared to vote on the audit and or take any action on the reimbursements. Is that kind of where board members are on this?
Just clarify, when do we have to take action? Or what deadline are we working on here? John, I guess another question. When do we have to do something if we decide to do something?
In my opinion, it can be whenever you're ready. The audit approval can be done now, but if you're uncomfortable with that, I mean, it can wait, but I don't think it changes the numbers. So I think you can approve the audit tonight as it is, because regardless of what I find after tonight, the balance sheet does not change. And so the final audit would look exactly how it is tonight, how it looks tonight, regardless of what we find after the fact. So I don't think this holds up audit approval. I think you can go ahead and approve it if you agree with everything. As far as taking action on the prepaids, that can be done whenever you have sufficient information to do so. And so, I have another job I'm working on right now. We'll probably wrap up tomorrow. Immediately after that, I'll probably do this tomorrow or Saturday. Just go back, look at FSR's email where they took objection to a small number of the accounts, and just ask follow-up questions to try to get ledgers for those and verify that there is in fact activity. And then I'll probably ask more questions about why the prepaid report is showing no activity for 3 years or however long went by, just to figure out what happened within the system to cause that. And I'll probably just go back and look through as much of the ledgers as I can for the others, just to really confirm it and be sure about the findings. And I'll just get back to Margot with the results. So Margot will probably receive it early next week, and then she can get back to you with the results of that. So after that, it's just, whenever you're comfortable with starting to take action, you can take action. But like I said, none of the things that happen after tonight will affect the balance sheet presentation. Like, that's all still going to be prepaid assessments. So I think you can approve the audit tonight in its current form, without that particular issue holding it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lou, I see you're back with us. Did you have any questions or additions?
No, just to underscore the point that Maria made, at least the point that I believe that she made, that until we have a better handle on what the real numbers are, and that's not to discredit anyone, it's just that there are numbers that don't add up in terms of what is the actual number that was found previously versus what's being found now, and it's a fairly large delta. It would be hard to approve So I understand that we can approve and then take action, but until we have that very solid base, I'm not sure if we even know what action to be taken, or drilling down, as you call it, or both. I think is paramount to be able to go to the approval step.
Approval to take action or approving the audit?
Well, what you said, John, and I agree with, I mean, in principle, it makes sense, is that once we agree to something, then we have to take action. But if we're agreeing to take action based on numbers that haven't been solidified yet, in your mind they have been, but we have some questions, then yeah, I think it puts us in a little bit of a tenuous situation that we're taking action, or voting yes on something that we're agreeing to take action on for which information.
Okay, yeah, I understand. It's a comfort thing. You have to be comfortable with what you're approving. And so, this isn't something that I'm going to wait on. So I'm going to be doing it probably tomorrow sometime, and you'll have results back next week on what I find. And hopefully there won't be much hopefully it won't be altered from what we already know by too much. And so this is something I'm going to get on pretty quickly.
Hey, Asha, did you have something else?
Yeah, I just want to clarify what I'm understanding here. What I think the accountant is saying is you could approve the audit findings, you could approve the opinion. That does not mean that you have to take any action.
That's correct. You can approve the audit without taking any of the recommendations.
Action. That's what he's saying.
That's
So
probably not a good idea, but you can do that. My recommendation is different from audit opinion. Yeah.
Right. You could approve the opinion and
Yeah.
determine what you're going to do in terms of the money while you're trying to verify the numbers.
Correct.
It's
yes.
two separate things.
Yeah, what you're approving is our audit opinion,
Uh-huh.
the presentation of the financial statements, and that's why I was making that statement earlier that you could approve the audit now, because even if I find that things changed later, all that changes is what you're going to do. That balance sheet number of 42,000 or however much it was, it will not change regardless of what I find when I go and drill back. And so the financials will not change. There will not be another audit adjustment. It's just a matter of what you're going to do with the findings. If you did absolutely nothing with it, it would still sit in that account and it wouldn't change the presentation of the financials ever. It's just an issue that we would find every year and have to comment on and make a recommendation about. And so approving the audit is not necessarily the same thing as deciding what you're going to do with the unclaimed property. It would just stay in that same account. So you could approve tonight, but if you're not comfortable, that is okay, because I'm going to get on this immediately and you're going to have, my confirmation or my follow-up questions sometime early next week about which balances are exactly unclaimed property and which ones are current and that sort of a thing. But it doesn't change the prepaid assessment number.
Maria, did you have
Right.
something else?
Yeah, so some follow-up questions. So, John, how comfortable are you that the reports that you receive from FSR are accurate?
In terms of the balance, I'm very confident that balance won't change, even after we find out, why did the system, highlight certain items as no activity since 2017 or so, things like that. Like I'm pretty sure that, you still have a prepaid assessment balance in there that hasn't been returned or amortized. And that's not going to change. It's just a matter of, why is the date I'm looking at saying 2017 and why are they coming back to me and saying that it's actually a current account? That's what I need to find out, like what caused that.
Okay,
I don't
and
think there's
second,
anything wrong with the balance itself. I don't.
That's so what I'm trying to understand is like, how are you so confident that the balance is what's reflected in our bank statements?
The bank statement, I have bank statements for all that. I looked at every single bank statement during.
So you know that there's 33,000 sitting in our bank account that
Yes.
was related to prepaid. You're positive about that?
Yes, because I looked at all the other pots. I look at the cash, I look at the receivables, income, expenses, reserve expenditures,
And you looked at the bank reconciliation?
I looked at bank reconciliations. So if this money is in the wrong pot, then one of those other accounts would be off too, because it's double entry. You got debits and credits. So every entry has another side to the entry. So if this is wrong, something else is wrong. It would have been flagged if that were the case.
And you're,
So
you're,
if nothing else is wrong, then this number has to be correct.
and you definitely reviewed the bank reconciliations. How frequently were those performed that you received?
Bank reconciliations, those are performed monthly by FSR. The one I examined for the audit is the December bank reconciliation. And so I looked at the January bank statements to see that items are cleared. I do think I have an audit comment in there about some small transactions that are not clearing.
Which are there?
Yeah, that's a fairly common problem. And so they have to drill down into that, find out why it didn't clear. Maybe a check needs to be reissued. Maybe a small amount of money was double paid. Things like that occur. Maybe a homeowner payment didn't clear, and so they still owe. And so those are things that they need to do a better job of staying on top of. So I made a comment about that. But the dollar amounts for those are really small. It wouldn't amount to the 34,000 in unclaimed property that I highlighted.
I understand what you're saying, John. I
Mhm.
think I just need to get more comfortable with this because the prior auditor noted that this amount was $500 or less than $500, and now you're telling us it's 33,000.
Yes.
So we just need to understand from maybe the prior auditor, what were they including or considering was that prior year balance?
Yeah, I mean the
Repeated.
500.
Repeated.
I'd have to go back and look at the trial balance to see if the $500 was plainly listed on the trial balance. Maybe that's what they're referring to. It's a better question for them if we can't immediately identify it on the trial balance. I have it pulled up, so I can just take a quick look here.
Yeah, I just want to understand because I don't know if they were considering something else that was prepaid. And
Yeah, it's
that's what
not
was
immediately on
contributing
the
to the
trial. I can
balance.
see it's not on the trial balance prior year. So it's a follow-up question you'll have to go back to them about because I can't see it from the trial balance that I have from their firm. And so I don't know what $500 they're referring to. And so it's a follow-up question for that firm.
And as an auditor, how many years, by the way, if you don't mind me asking, how many years experience do you have in this field?
I have 15 years of experience auditing condos and HOA. I have performed thousands of audits over that 15-year period.
Okay.
I'm
And
also a
so
certified public accountant.
we wouldn't have selected you if you didn't.
Yeah.
Um, so given that experience, is it normal for auditors to perform this type of test that you've done?
It should be. Honest answer is most of them probably don't look at the prepaids that closely. They just make sure that the schedule ties into the balance sheet. They want to see that there's a list of names and aging of balances, and that's as far as most of them will go. I have a boss who is very picky about certain things, and so I am forced to look at some of the larger balances and verify that it's not an error. And so I do that. And then in the process of doing that, I started to notice years ago that there were lots of smaller balances with no activity. And then when I drilled down into those, into the owner accounts, I could see that they were dormant. And then I even went a step further and did this on several properties where I looked into public records to verify that the name of the ownership changed. And so after having done that for hundreds and hundreds of accounts, I decided that, it was a waste of time to continue to drill down to that level of detail. You could just go off of the report and just check the dates and the aging activity. 120 days plus with nothing in 30, 60, 90 or whatever, that's a sign of dormant. If it lists date of last payment and it was 3 years ago, that's a sign of dormancy. Now, if the system is giving me incorrect information and, management tells me that, this is actually a current account, but their last payment was 2017, then my question is, how is this a current account if their last payment is 2017? I mean, did they prepay 3 years, 4 years worth of assessments? What are you looking at? So, that's what I've got to do tomorrow or Monday.
So I think I would feel more comfortable if you did ask those follow-up questions.
Yeah. I'll do so. So it'll probably be tomorrow. I'll definitely have looked at the information by Saturday, and by Monday, I'll likely be sending the follow-up email questions to get some answers on that. But as I mentioned earlier, it will not change the prepaid assessment number. They're all still prepaid assessments. It ties into the schedule we do have. I looked at all the other accounts and they all tie in. And so I'm pretty confident that number will not change. It's just a matter of, okay, is it really unclaimed property or is it a current account with activity in it? That's mainly all I'm looking to find out. with the follow-up questions.
Okay,
And then
so,
verify the condo. That was a shock to me that a bunch of those are actually condo association accounts. And so I want to drill down into that a little more and confirm that they're really condo accounts.
yeah, so there are a bunch of condo,
Yeah, a huge chunk.
condos, but
Condo.
I just want to make sure it's like what you were looking at as prepaid is the same thing that the prior auditor is looking at. So what
It is.
clear if we could just send an email with our question to the prior auditor, asking
Yeah.
how they arrived at the $500.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Do you have the name of the auditor that you talked to about this?
Yeah, you and I can chat tomorrow. I'll send you an email and provide you
Okay.
with the contact information.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see what I can get. Hopefully they respond. Yeah, I don't have anything in the trial balance I have from the previous firm about the $500. I know for the prepaid assessments, they looked at the same reports I do. And so the difference is, how carefully does the auditor actually look at the information in the report? And like I said, my finding all of this is a result of having a boss who beats me over the head to look more carefully at those schedules. So
Okay.
So
All right.
it sounds to me like most of the board is most comfortable deferring action on the audit until we have a little more information on the prepaid, on this issue. So do we need even a motion? Why don't we could somebody make a motion to table action on the audit, until we have more information about the, dormant accounts?
Wait 1 second, Claire. I
Yeah,
think we
sorry,
can
I-
clarify again. We can vote to approve the audit, but hold off on taking action on what to do with the prepaids.
that is correct. You
It's
can
two
approve the
different
audit
things.
tonight, and then you can make the handling of the prepaids a separate motion to be, next board meeting after you have all the information. Because whatever I find after tonight, it won't change the presentation of the audit. It would change the management letter, but that's not what you're not approving the management letter. You're approving the audit. So the prepaid assessment number will not change. I have a high level of confidence that will stay the same. So you can approve the audit tonight if you're comfortable, and then approve what your action is going to be about the prepaids after you have all the information back next week. And so that's
I'm trying to say, Claire, it's two separate things. We need.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's
I
two separate
understand. I do understand that it's two separate things. I personally am comfortable either way we want to do it. It sounds to me like both Maria and Lou have indicated that they would prefer to wait. Is that correct? I mean, I just am trying to figure out like, what are we going to get a majority vote for here at this moment?
I would
I
prefer
would
to
s-
wait.
Yeah, I do too. I respect John's report, and I understand the two separate things, et cetera. But in all honesty, the optics just don't look good to me.
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's worth taking that step only to hit that next step.
Mhm.
I want to do the whole thing with full understanding.
Yeah, and I completely understand that. I mean, that's what audits are all about, is being comfortable with your numbers and being able to trust them and rely on them. And so I understand that feeling. And so that's why I'm getting on this tomorrow.
Frank, do you have
Appreciate
an
that.
opinion either way on how you would prefer to proceed?
I mean, I'm comfortable with the findings, but if you want to wait, that's, I'm not pushing the boulder up the hill here. Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
But if someone made a motion to approve, I would vote yes too. So otherwise, it's going to be on the docket 3 more times. So
But John, you said you'd be able to reach out, get in communication, or at least send communication to the prior auditor and follow up on.
Yeah, I can follow up on it. We are required to communicate with them, so that's how I got their information, the trial balance. Now, as far as follow-ups, I've never done that before, so I don't know how good they'll be about that. And so I'm definitely going to reach out to them, and I can go back to my boss if there's any problems, see what we can do.
Yeah, I don't think you have
Getting
a problem.
information.
And Margot, can you make sure that the prior auditor responds?
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna have a problem. He's really pretty good about responding.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think he'll work with you. He understands the issue, and we just need to make sure we understand what to do next.
Okay.
Seems like it's a matter of days, not 3 months or like
Next week.
No.
someone just mentioned.
I
So
mean, the board has the ability to approve outside of a meeting if it's a unanimous decision. This might be a tough one, so but we can try too. Once we get it, everybody reviews, you get the list of questions. We'll have to go back and forth a little bit, so it may take a couple weeks. Maybe we get it everything approved by June, the next June meeting. That's not going to push anything too far back.
Okay, so does somebody want to make a motion to defer action on this until we have more information on the delinquent accounts? I mean, not delinquent accounts, the dormant accounts.
More information about the dormant accounts and also get clarification for the discrepancy between the prior auditor's numbers and the current auditor opinion.
Okay, so Maria, are you making a motion? You're making a motion to defer action on the audit until we have more information on the dormant accounts and the discrepancy in numbers between the current and previous auditor.
So moved.
Okay, does anyone want to second that?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, Maria,
Yes.
Asha,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Lou,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So 5-0. Thank you so much for coming, John. It was really, really helpful. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for having me. And yeah, you'll hear back from me, early next week on this.
I'll
And
reach
so
out
hopefully
to
I'll
you
have some
tomorrow.
answers.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, John.
All right.
And Margot, you and I can talk about the tax filings separately. We should just get those moving forward, right?
He has to finish
Or-
the audit before he can.
Oh, we have to finish the audit before the tax filing. Well, do we need to file like a late
He's-
filing
He's
thing though?
filed an extension, right, John?
Okay,
Yes, we filed an extension, so the due date is October now.
okay.
Yeah.
okay,
So
We've
if
got
it's
time.
not done by June,
right.
you're good. It's extended.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Great. We have one more new business item before we go to public comment. Thank you so much, John. And that is that we got a proposal for irrigation repairs that the board needs to approve before the landscaping company can go ahead and approve the irrigation and fix the irrigation system. And I don't have it in front of me, but it is for, oh wait, here it is. It's for $9,258. Did any member of the board have anything they wanted to discuss about this before we make a motion and vote?
I mean, where is it? Is this on any of this on condo property? The percentage on condo property?
Frank, the irrigation is set up by zones, and there are 17 zones that run throughout the entire community. Those zones were part of the irrigation contract and proposal, and so they're located per zone. We don't have specific addresses. So they run those zones, and they mark down on their notes whatever zone has got needs, whatever those are, sprinkler heads. There's several different things, gaskets, booster pump problems. So it's by zone, not by address.
But I mean, we all know all Richmond Highway are condos. We know all Powhatan are condos. So how difficult can this be?
Well, we have zones for the entire community at this point in time until we are told differently. That's the way the irrigation has been set up, the way the contract was set up. So therefore, the proposal for repair is set up the same way.
Okay, any other thoughts or comments before we make a motion?
Yes.
Um,
Go ahead, Lou. Go ahead first.
It's more of a concern than a question, and I'm just putting this out there. I mean, we put this work out for bid, and we chose complete landscaping for landscaping, and we were comfortable with that because it was put out for bid. And so we were able to look at costs across different providers. Now we have a situation where we have repairs, and essentially we're flying blind, in a matter of speaking. In other words, the schedule of the repairs that are being done, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, we have no comparison. I mean, this could be top-notch list price, or it could be competitively priced, or, there needs to, and I'm not saying we're going to solve it for this one, so we may have to deal with it and accept it, but somehow we need to request enough detail in terms of equipment models? In other words, what are they actually installing? Because we should have the right, the ability to cross-check what they're charging us and question whether or not we're being overcharged. And we can't do that on anything that wasn't part of the original bid.
We literally have to pay another company to come out and do a complete inspection in order for them to give us a list of other, the repair items that they see that are needed. To go out to somebody else, I could take their notes. It's just typically not done that way. I could take their notes. And
Yeah,
present
I mean, I think time is of the essence here. Like, we're not going to be able to get the plants watered until we turn things on, right?
Yeah,
So we're not in a position as, to be bidding this out. And that's not really what, I mean, I think we're under contract with Complete that they're going to be the service provider here.
Right.
So,
one thing
See,
I mean,
I'm not at all-
what are you saying?
No, I'm not at all going to hold this up. All right, I'm basically saying is this $9,000 is going to be, in my opinion, approved because we need to move forward with necessary work to ensure that the plants and other foliage is not compromised. But as we move forward and as other repairs may come up, I think we have a fiduciary responsibility to at least say, okay, how are we going to keep a single source supplier, which they are on repairs, honest, not that they aren't, but, trust but verify. How are we going to have in our process going forward a way to make sure that we're not paying double what we would have paid if it was put out for bid? So I'm not holding this up. I'm merely making a point that I'm feeling a little bit exposed on the vote for this 9,000, although because of the urgency, I will vote yes.
Great. Well, good point, Lou. Thank you. I mean, these kinds of issues are things that hopefully maybe someday we'll have a finance committee set up that can be involved in looking at this kind of thing. Maria, you had a comment?
Yes, there's a comment that keeps being made about, irrigation and landscaping outside of condos. If there is a concern about landscaping and irrigation done outside of any unit, that I can understand. But by singling out one portion, and the majority portion, by the way, of the HOA is unfair. And it needs to stop.
The HOA is not
If you have an
responsible for
issue with,
upkeep on
let
condo
me
properties.
speak, Frank.
Read the
Frank,
governance
stop
docs, Maria. That's
interrupting
your
me.
problem.
Stop interrupting me.
No,
okay?
just be quiet, please. You make no.
Thank you, Claire. The issue, if you have an issue, is with the landscaping and the irrigation in front of any unit. The HOA is comprised of both condo members and HOA only members. Every homeowner in this HOA is a member, regardless if you're a part of a condo association or not. Everyone. So if you have an issue of landscaping and irrigation outside of a unit, you need to talk about that as a whole. If you keep segregating and keep if you keep picking on one type of the homeowner as opposed to the entire issue, you're violating your fiduciary duty at this point.
You're violating your
You
fiduciary
are-
duty for passing condo costs to the HOA.
You are not, okay? So you keep spreading.
You're violating your
misinformation.
fiduciary duty.
If you have an issue with the landscaping and irrigation outside of a unit, I'm fine with that. I would understand that. But you keep picking on just the condos.
No,
If
I'm
you're not-
I'm
if you
adhering
have
to
an
the
issue, then you
declaration,
need to-
unlike
you
you.
need to
We're not
include
responsible. The
all
HOA is not responsible
landscaping
for upkeep
and
on condo
irrigation
property.
outside of a homeowner that is just part of the HOA only.
HOA is
You
not
had
responsible for the upkeep
Last
on
news
condo
there, by the
properties.
way, there is more landscaping outside of a townhome that is not part of the condo association than it's part of the condo association.
That's an illegal provision too. You should fix that too while you're at it.
All right. Thank you. Asha, did you have a comment?
I'm ready to vote.
Okay, thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve the irrigation repairs proposed by Complete Landscaping. Does somebody make that? Will somebody make that motion?
I second.
So
Oh, well,
moved.
you need to make the, I can't actually make the motion, so do you want to
So-
make the motion?
I'm
Asha,
so
to say
sorry,
so moved?
Clay. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
So moved.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second,
All right, how do we vote? Maria,
yes.
Asha?
Yes.
Oh, you're muted, Asha.
Yes.
Okay, Frank,
No.
Lou,
Yes,
and I vote yes. So the motion passes 4-1 with member Capone opposed. Okay, so Margot, is there any other issue that we have to vote on tonight that I missed? I think I've gotten them all, right?
Yeah, no, I think we're good. I did send over minutes. They came in late, so we'll just add those to the June
We'll
meeting.
just add those to the June meeting, yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, and folks from the community who have been patiently waiting, I'm sorry, we've gone over time. Is there anybody on the meeting, from the community who would like to, address the meeting? If you would like to, you can either raise your hand and I will call on you. I see we have somebody on the phone as well, so, is the person who's on the phone, I'm not sure who it is, but do you have a comment that you'd like to make?
Yeah, it's Nicholas Panos, and I haven't been attending the meetings because I don't find it very productive. But I'm just going to say I can't believe you just approved that expense. We are not responsible for any landscaping on townhome on townhome property. You made an election to do so. We're not responsible for any landscaping on condo property. There is no election provision to do so. So you can, and you also, as an HOA, are not authorized to fix irrigation equipment on property that is not a common area. Ergo, no irrigation equipment can be fixed on condo property. It's an illegal transfer of funds from the HOA. It's done with the knowledge that it might be illegal. You've done no due diligence to read the documents, as Mr. Capone just said, so I think you're engaged in criminal conduct. I'm only on the call to create the record because we are going to take legal proceedings against all of you. And Asha, it's not going to look good for your business if this gets to the criminal level, because once we win in the civil court, we are going to the criminal authorities. You're doing this
Nicholas,
with the
if
full
you wanna-
intent to
hey,
defraud.
Nicholas.
the
Don't
HOA.
interrupt him, Asha. It's his turn to
No,
speak.
Frank,
Don't
Nicholas,
interrupt. This is
Don't
my
if
2
you
minutes.
want to
This is
personally
my
attack
2 minutes,
me,
Asha.
Well,
My
no,
2 minutes. I
no,
am
no, no.
attacking you. I'm telling
He
you
gets
exactly what we're
attacked.
going to
You
do.
just
Nicholas
crossed
gets
the
his
line.
time.
You're
You
the
just crossed the line,
treasurer.
buddy.
You're the
If you
treasurer.
want to, I'm not raising
You
my
are
voice
the
with you.
treasurer, and
Hey,
You're-
hey,
you're
Mr.
the
Panos,
treasurer.
there's
You're stealing
there's
money.
codes of
you're
conduct for
stealing
these
money
meetings.
from us.
Please
If
don't
you want
yell.
to attack
Anybody who
me,
uses
Nicholas Panos,
yells,
I'll give you my
anybody
She
number
interrupted
and
my
address
2
and
minutes.
we can
muted.
meet up.
She interrupted
Thanks.
my 2 minutes. She interrupted my 2 minutes.
You're welcome to speak, although
Okay, she is the
what you're
treasurer. She is
saying
the treasurer. She's supposed to be safeguarding my money. It's an illegal transfer of money. The condominiums have to pay for their own landscaping, and they have to pay that pro rata share of any irrigation equipment fixed on their property. It's not
You
an
need to keep my
HOA
business
common
and my
element.
family out of your mouth. I'm not gonna sit here and allow you to attack my family. Watch yourself.
Asha, I'm
Thank
just
you.
telling you what the risks are.
Let
you
me tell
are
you what. You want my
engaged in
address?
criminal
Come
misconduct.
speak to me in person.
Okay,
Keep
Mr.
my
Panos,
family and my business out of your mouth, Nicholas Panis.
Oh, no, I intend to go to
I just
criminal
warned
authorities
you.
once we prevail
My
in civil
family,
court with
this
you.
is a HOA meeting. Let's keep it professional. Keep my family. You just crossed the line. You just crossed the line with me. Keep my family and my business out of your mouth. You and Frank.
Asha,
I'm not
I
gonna
don't
warn
take
you
direction
again.
from you. I don't take direction
You
from
heard
you.
what I said.
I'm
No, you
making
gotta
a
take-
record.
you're
Mr.
gonna
Panos,
take
I
it
am
if you
anyway.
making
I'm
have
done with you.
record.
observations that you
I
would
said
like
what
I'm
I said.
making a record. I'm
Make
making
them.
a record for the criminal authorities to come after you because
That's
you're the
fine.
one that's
Do what you have to do.
Okay,
Do what
Mr.
you have to
Panos,
do.
your time is up. Your false accusation, just for the record, those are false accusations. You know that the board, in part because of your request, is doing its due diligence and is consulting attorneys to find out the answers to these questions. So, coming on and personally threatening and insulting people is just, it's outside the bounds of acceptable behavior in our HOA meetings. Anyway, other members of the public, of the community who would like to speak? Okay. In that case, I will, and anybody else on the board have any, comments?
I just want to say it's a shame. I apologize to the homeowners, and I'm not going to apologize for my response to Nicholas Panos and Frank. You do not come on this call and think you're going to threaten people and think for board members for volunteering to do something to serve the community and think we're going to sit here and take your threats. If you want to sue me personally, but don't bring this to an HOA meeting. And when you sue me, expect a response in return. I will respond in kind. I'm not afraid of you. I don't really care about you. And this is not that if you have a personal thing against me, then bring it to me personally, but do not disrespect the people on this call by bringing up all your foul and your misleading allegations. Okay, if you want to sue me personally, come after my business, come after me, but keep it out of the HOA meeting. And I'm not going to sit here and put up with your attacks.
Thank you.
You don't
Asha.
even know me and I don't know you. So I don't know why you're bringing my name and my business into this. I take that, I'm highly offended.
Thank you, Asha. Okay. I think everyone has had their say. So if that is the case, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
No, because you said it was false accusation. It's true. You have no authority to transfer money from the
Bring your
HOA
suit,
to
Nicholas.
fund.
Your
If you're bad,
comment,
bring your
your
suit.
comment period is over.
Stop
Mr.
talking.
You didn't
Patrick.
get 2 minutes. Asha
You
interrupted him.
don't
You didn't
get
2
free
minutes.
license to just come on here and abuse
Asha,
everybody.
no, you're
You know, if you have
Bring your
legitimate
suit,
things
Frank.
that you want to say, you
Bring
can
it.
say it.
You've been promising to sue us for how many years? 3 years.
You
When are
haven't
you
been
gonna
on the
do
board
it?
that long,
Just do
Asha.
it.
How would you know? Keep
Do it.
transferring condo costs to the HOA. You're doing great, Asha.
Frank is
We're not responsible for the landscaping on condo properties, Asha. Let it
Folks,
go.
we're not going to resolve this issue tonight.
It is
As
resolved.
everyone in the community knows and has been informed, the board has chosen to get these questions researched. We're doing our due diligence and we want to have the right answers and we're going to get them.
Are you
So
saying we
people
own
coming
the
on
HOA
and
owns
being
condo property?
threatening and without, you know, we're doing what we need to do. We're confident that we're going to get where we need to get. It just takes time to get these answers. It's not simple. But we're gonna have the answers. And you know, anybody in the community who behaves in a threatening and harassing manner, we're going to be dealing with them too. So you know, people need to come on here and treat each other with respect and dignity and behave like this is a professional environment. I would advise people not to do anything in these meetings that they would regret if that their employer would find out about.
We'll try to be nicer to people that steal from us, Clea.
Anyway,
You're voting.
with that,
You're voting
can we get a
yourself
motion
$500
to-
in
can you mute
customized
them, please,
landscaping.
Claire, so we
You want
can
people to
move
be
on?
this is
nice.
not,
You're
this
wasting
board
people's
meeting is
time.
not an opportunity for a free for all for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're wasting people's
Could
time.
I
The
get a
board is
motion
committing
to
criminal. The
adjourn?
board is committing criminal acts by upkeeping on
Could I get a motion to
committing
adjourn,
criminal
please?
acts. It's criminal
Yeah,
what you're doing.
I'm just concerned that there
moved.
are other board members,
criminal.
other homeowners who attended this meeting diligently and didn't get an opportunity.
But I did ask, does anybody else want to speak from the public who is here?
If you have trouble unmuting yourself, you can just raise your hand or put it in the chat. Okay, good. Sorry about that.
Okay, could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.